You can go ahead.
It's alright, and it's all
It started.
Did not include your audio. All right, everybody, welcome to the Fast Family Truck Series, the 2020 summer season finale. Next to I am Mr. Slidejob 9096. Next to me is the last previous champion of the 2019-2020 truck champion, Libert 58. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today, Slidejob?
Not bad, especially when I'm sitting next to such talented company. So you were in the driver's seat where these four drivers sit today. What was your mindset going in? what was your mindset going into these first couple laps?
You're talking about my previous championship race?
Yes. Yeah. What were
Uh,
you feeling? Where the in the first couple laps that these drivers are doing right now?
That's definitely there's gonna be a lot of mixed emotions. You're gonna be amped up, but at the same time a little nervous because anything can really happen throughout this race. And it goes to show in my championship race that anything really can happen. I was behind on strategy all race, threw something late, and got a late race caution to be able to make the winning move there. So, long race. It's all about these drivers staying concentrated and minimizing mistakes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was definitely a interesting battle that we had at then ISM, now Phoenix Raceway. It was definitely a fun one, and you even got your first win in that race in the truck series. So you kind of showed that, hey, I can be consistent all year long and just perform, the best I can, and then maybe you'll really shine at the end, and you really did it. So fantastic. So we're absolutely excited to have you here and helping us call the race today. So let's mention the final four tonight. We've got T-Glass 19, who won his way into the final four. We also have Puzzle Nose, also won his way in, and Haskell the Rascal won his way in. And our fourth driver locking in on points was Chris in the 70 truck. So we have a very talented final four, as you see. They're pretty much up here in the top four for tonight. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good one. What are you excited for tonight the most?
Definitely excited to see how these drivers handle their trucks later in the run, and to see if they can keep it green. Because if they can keep it green, it's going to be a whole lot of a different race than if a bunch of cautions were to come out. So if we get green flag racing, there's going to be some interesting strategy later on in the race, and it'll be interesting to see who can come out top. As
Absolutely.
appears to be, is that the top four of the championship four, actually?
I
right now.
believe so. You're right. The top four have jumped out early. You see T-Glass out to a little bit of a lead, followed by Puzzle Nose, Chris, and Haskell the Rascal finishing out your top four. So, it just goes to show how much these drivers want to just get out front early and start making some hay. So, but you did mention a good point. The Auto Club races tend to come down to strategy. So if this does go green and doesn't become a shootout, it isn't going to be necessarily who the fastest driver is or who can manipulate the draft the most, but who has the best pit strategy. And you for one are one of the experts at this. It got you a championship. So. Tell us, as far as if you were in their seat right now, what would be your strategy going into this race?
So, like, you see Puzzle, I'm watching Puzzle right now. He's just sitting there in second. Doesn't look like he's trying to catch T-Glass too hard right now, but that's exactly what I'd be doing. I'd just be riding it out. It's just the beginning of the race. Can't win it on the first few laps. You got to be there at the end. So, just ride out. See what your championship drivers have. That way you see if you need to make some adjustments to make your truck better, or if you're good where you're at.
Absolutely, and it's pretty cool to see. You see the final four kind of broke it off, and then you have this main pack in the back, 3 and 4 wide almost. They are going wild back there, but definitely being respectful to those championship drivers. And I kind of letting them race, and they're having a great battle in the back. And I do want to mention before we go any farther, some of you at home are probably wondering, hey, we have multiple trucks in the field with the number 98, and Haskell Rascal on his normal number in the 98, and that is for a very good reason. Tonight, we are honoring one of Fast family members fallen. Yesterday afternoon, we found out that GRM Joker, one of our very own, had passed away. He was a beloved member of Fast Family Racing League. He drove in both the truck and the National Series at one point, and I believe 98 was his truck number while he was racing in the Truck Series briefly. He was more of a National Series driver, but tonight several of the drivers in the field will be honoring him by carrying his number, Haskell Raskell being one of them. So we thank them for that, and this both championship races this week will be in honor of him. You know, we're really gonna miss him. He was a great friend to all of us, and we're definitely keeping his family and friends in our prayers and thoughts. So it's really special to do something like that for him. So we hope he's looking down on us for these championship races, and hopefully we put on a show.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely something that's hard to do, you know, go out there and put on your best act in tough times, but these drivers will definitely give you that show here tonight, as you can see the championship 4 is clearly breaking away from that second pack now.
Yeah, how about that? We have all 4 drivers in a tight pack, being led still by T-Glass 19, who got the pole, but all 4 of the drivers are still nose to tail, all under a blanket. You know, they just biding their time, waiting for these laps to click down. Now, you know, Liebert, there is 3 stages in this race, but stage 1 and 2 really don't matter as far as points are concerned. It's all about who finished is higher. So, are you going to be using the stage breaks to your advantage here?
I think so. That's where strategy could come in now. You could come down, especially since these championship 4 are up front. They have more time to come down the pit road, say before 2 to go, because pits do close at 2 to go. So you could come down beforehand, get fresh tires, fuel, and then you could stay out at that stage break. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on, as Chris has moved up to second now, and it looks like he's trying to make a move on T-Glass first.
Yeah, the guy I'm watching right now is that 98 Haskell. He's up there with these guys, but you see he's kind of lagging back a little bit. I almost feel like he's saving a little bit. You know, as you said, strategy is going to be key here. So you almost feel like, you know, these other guys are just trying to push, you know, stand that back bumper T-Glass and try to pass them, and that you think that 98 is just sitting there saving in the draft.
Yeah, I believe so, for sure, because he's been there at the tail end of those 3 the whole run so far. So I definitely think he's the one that's saving the most out of all of them. The one I'd be worried about would maybe be T-Class. Depending on how loose you have your truck set up, it's going to really eat up those right side tires. So there's a lot of bumps on this track, so you're definitely sliding a lot more than usual.
Oh yeah, and you know, we were talking about, you know, strategy and the stage breaks. You know, I think we've noticed from previous Auto Club races, and you even saw last year in the Xfinity Series, you know, the tire fall off, the lap time fall off due to the tires is huge here. So if you do make some kind of strategy like staying out, you know, and then someone where the whole field comes down behind you, that's going to be a big disadvantage for you. You know, you're going to be freight trained almost. So, you know, it really, I think tires is going to matter a ton here. And if you can sit and save those tires, like you were saying, it's going to be huge at the end of the run here.
Yeah, especially if you can stretch that fuel run, because if you can stretch the fuel run, you're going to be on the fresher tires, and that's going to benefit you in the longer run. So fresh tires is a big thing on these looser tracks, the ones that kind of eat up the tires a little bit more, at least the right sides.
Absolutely.
It's a lot harder to throw in a 2-tire strategy because definitely hurt yourself in the long run.
Oh yeah, and don't look now, but we saw Puzzle Nose and Chris getting a little racy there, and we saw that second pack catch that first pack, but now they're 2x2 again. So now that's gonna bring that front pack a little bit farther away from them. If you're that backpack, you're trying to, you're really just going for the win here, right? So you don't really have anything else to prove other than getting a race to them. But if you're in that second pack, you want to catch these guys, don't you?
Yeah, and it's like the second pack is racing each other maybe a little bit more hard than part of the championship four. It looks like the championship four, they are challenging each other here and there, but it doesn't look like they're hurting themselves on time much.
Absolutely. And you see them taking different lines too. Now we see the 70 and 98 coming at the high side.
Somebody made a little contact with Puzzle Nose there.
Yep.
Almost was 3 wide.
But you see Haskell Carrasco just still sitting back behind these guys, not letting, not trying to pass either one of them, just sitting there riding.
Ooh, the backpack is coming down pit road.
Oh yeah,
all
look
4
at
of
that.
them. You got Slushy, you got Arkham, WT, Merkel, and I think OK Sideways.
It's pretty interesting to see. You were talking about strategy and pitting. We saw them come down early. So who's going to be the first championship drivers? We talk about new tires versus old tires. There's going to be an advantage to that backpack if these guys don't pit now. And they kind of pitted together like Talladega or Daytona. So will we see this pack this time?
It looks like Puzzle Nose is coming down by himself, so
interesting.
I don't think that's gonna benefit him much, honestly.
So if you were in his
I think he should have probably stayed out.
Okay.
No, I would pit when that leader pits, especially a guy like Haskell who's just riding out there in the back. He's got tires that'll make it the entire fuel run, so he can just run it until that leader pits. That way he's either on the same strategy, or even if he could make it another lap or 2 after the leader pits, that would be a key thing.
So your advice is to run it all the way out. Oh, and a little contact there between the 90 and the 54. But the big winner on that entry is the 70 of Chris. He got around, looked like T-Glass slowed a little bit. Maybe he ran out of fuel or whatnot, or was too cautious, but he dropped off, and Chris got the lead coming in, and that slowing down a little bit led to some contact. I don't think the 98 expected him to slow down that much.
I think it was T-Glass being a little extra precautious for sure.
Absolutely, definitely don't want to see a big mistake in a championship race. Now I'm watching the 64 of Puzzle Nose, and we'll see where he comes out. He's coming out of 3 and 4 here. Let's see if he gets an advantage. He did pit a lap earlier, so it's interesting to see if he gains an advantage. They're coming off pit road now. He's coming in.
I believe he will.
Too.
Yep. He's gonna have a slight advantage, but due to those other drivers, is Chris out there already? No, Chris is just coming out. I wonder if Chris has a speeding penalty.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the big loser there, and he looks like he's got a little bit of damage there on the left front of his truck.
Yeah, that was we talked about him getting the lead on pit entry. It looked like he dove it in too hard.
Yes, he might have. And that's going to be a big mistake, but the big key to that is it's only stage 1, so he's got plenty of time to make that up, get them early mistakes out of the way, get refocused. I believe by the time stage 2, he'll be back up there.
Good point. Yeah, definitely. If you're going to make a mistake that costly, you want to make it early enough where you can recover. If that was the last pit stop of the day, say goodbye to the championship, it's over. But, like you said, there's definitely a lot of time in the 2-stage breaks to get back into it. Now, we saw Puzzle Nose hit 1 lap early, get the lead. But you said you wouldn't have made that move because you would want to stretch the fuel a little bit longer, do you think? So do you really think in stage one it's really going to cost him here?
No, I don't think it'll cost him too much. But you can see he's up front right now, but the 54 truck at T-Class right behind him, he's really gaining on him, especially through the corners on exit. He's able to get on the gas a lot sooner than the 64 is. So that's the new tires there. It's only a lap fresher, but if you look back to the fourth now, I believe Slushy's back there. That second group that pitted a few laps earlier than the first group, they have gained a bunch of time to that
Absolutely.
first group. So
It looks like two of them are working together there. They are slowly catching these guys. Looks like there's a little racing going on as T-Glass
the
and the 98 are side by
98 of
side.
Slushy and 98 of OK Sideways back there.
Absolutely. They are nose to tail pushing each other really hard, trying to catch these front three. If these two cars behind Puzzle, ooh, a little bit of blocking. The 64 all the way down the racetrack, blocking the 98 all the way to almost the apron. What an aggressive move. Liber, would you make an aggressive block this early in stage one like that?
See, I wouldn't, only because I know that they have fresher tires. It's going to be hard to fight those. Ooh, he makes contact with
Contact
the 54.
still.
It
Bad
looks like
block.
the 54 is able to save it though.
Yeah,
But
bad block on
yeah,
that end. Yeah.
it's them new tires. So Puzzle is probably going to get eaten up a little bit because he's going 3 wide right now for the lead.
Wide.
That's the 98's on the outside.
Yeah.
Looks like T-Glass is going to clear him.
You said it, talking about fresh tires. You saw the 54 and the 98 just be, for a couple laps there, it didn't seem like much. And then all of a sudden they started to just, overpower him and pull the side. But we saw a late block on the 54 that cost him but a little bit of time, but he was able to come right back, and the 98 as well. They're now pulling in front of 64. So you said it. Those tires matter a lot.
No, if I was the 64 right now, I'd just want to stay right behind the 98 in the draft. That's going to be his best play, and it will probably help his car handle a little bit better, especially through the corners, at least on turning.
I agree. He's already in a situation where he's disadvantaged now. You want to just maximize, or minimize, the amount of time you lose, the amount of tires you're using, and just ride. As you see, it looks like the 54 is kind of pulled away a tiny bit. I don't know if
mention that. I was gonna mention that he was pulling away. He's got a fast truck. I was looking at practice times. He was at the top of the leaderboard by a few tenths of a second. So I don't know if he's able to make that last in the long run as well.
Yeah.
Because he looks pretty quick, but if those two behind could stay drafted and not race each other, they might be able to get back up to him. They just need to get into his draft.
Absolutely, and you do have that disadvantage 64 with the tires. He is pushing the 98 as hard as he possibly can. Bumpers locked down the straightaway. Two trucks, normally should be able to pull up to him, but again, one is on a little bit of better tires, so it's up to them. But again, talking fuel and tire strategy, maybe they don't even want to try to get up to him. There's always the possibility that, with saving late in the run, that 54 that's going that fast might be burning him too much, and that'll bring him back to them.
That's it. The 98 is definitely saving. Last one, he's been saving most of the run, so I definitely think he's saving. Puzzle, I don't think is. I don't believe T-Glass has been saving, because he tends to fade away closer towards pit stops, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, and as we just
It'll
heard,
be interesting.
over race control is 3 to go this time by. So we are nearing the end of stage one. It's pretty much been dominated by the final 4, with the exception of one of Chris, one of the Farm 4 drivers, getting a speeding penalty early on and falling to the rear. But the top three still your championship drivers. T-Glass, 19, still pulling away in the lead. Haskell, Nebraska, Puzzle Nose fall behind. And then a couple more non-playoff drivers behind them. But there is a lot of real estate in between them and the rest of the field. Who to go?
For sure. T-Glass is definitely starting to stretch it now. I definitely think the second and third, Puzzled and Haskell, are definitely excited that the stage is coming to an end so they can get re-racked and put back on the same strategy.
Absolutely.
And
you know,
especially for Chris.
oh yeah. I think of any of the Final Four, anyone on the racetrack, I think Chris will be the most relieved to see the stage break. But also, you know, if you're the 64, the 98, I mean, honestly, there's no real advantage other than, you know, maybe the starting position on the restart to push here. I mean, it's not a huge deal as they're coming to one to go, and the points really don't matter. It's just about finishing position. So they're just kind of feeling out their truck and trying to figure out what kind of adjustments they're going to make during the stage break.
Right. If you look at the championship four, it's kind of interesting though. T-Glass, he has won 4 races this season, where the other 3 have only won 1. So, do you think T-Glass is at a slight advantage, or more or less the favorite coming into this race?
Oh, I think so. You know, I mean, whenever you win that many races in the season, and especially in the playoffs, you know, you really want to carry that momentum with you. So, you know, you definitely have that confidence that, hey, you know, I've won multiple times, I can do this again. You know, and for the other ones, you know, you're really just trying to prove that, you know, that first win just wasn't a fluke. I mean, that you belong here and you're a contender. So, I mean, I feel like, you know, both, you know, that's where the aggression and the desperation comes from, because you got guys trying to prove themselves and guys with confidence that think that, you know, based on their performance all season, that they're the favorite. So, you know, I would say yes, based on performance during the whole season, you know, T-Glass is the favorite, but, you know, we've seen what all 4 of these drivers can do. They've all ended up in victory lane. So they definitely have what it takes to win. And we'll see who it is that wants to win the most, who will come away with the trophy by tonight.
Yep. With T-Glass winning stage 1, it'll be interesting to see here. I definitely think with these guys getting re-racked, I know Chris is definitely going to be excited. It'll be interesting to see where he starts, though, and to see how long and how hard he's going to push. He needs to make sure he just doesn't push too hard and make another mistake on track, or to not get involved in something. And it looks like he will be starting 7th on the inside.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
he's not too far back.
We had a truck not a good going there. It sounds like he has some electrical issues. Hopefully we can get that resolved. But really interesting. We had the top 3 start on the front row, but don't look very far back. That 70 has moved up to 6th. So he is coming. He's only got 2 trucks to pass, and he's back where he was. So he almost is recovered here.
We got a new contender for second, actually. OK Sideways taking it down to the inside. He's going to actually take second and try to get the draft off T-Glass. And it looks like Puzzle Nose got into the wall back there.
Yeah, it looked like he might have been helped a little bit of contact, but, you know, he was, it looked like somebody hit Haskell, the rascal, into Puzzle Nose, and into the wall they went. But yeah, a little bit of a couple. Whoa!
There's more contact there.
Looked like, I don't know if that was lag or some contact, but it was Merkel Iceman almost on around there. One of our cup regulars doing one of his.
These drivers' trucks seem to be a little loose right now, especially in the back.
Absolutely.
Interesting to see if they can keep it held together.
Oh yeah.
1 second, I'll be right back.
Yep. The interesting thing that I saw on that restart is the big loser there was the 64 Puzzle Nose. Got into the wall, whether he was forced there or not. He was falling back to, I believe, the 7th spot. The big winner, the 70 of Chris, with a speeding penalty, is up in the 4th position now. He is hanging on, has recovered very nicely from that speeding penalty. Back in the mix. Friend challenged with the 0-1 of bot racing.
I do apologize, I am back.
Alright, so Libert, if you're just joining back with us, the 70 of Chris has worked his way back up into 4th. Okay, Sideways still hanging with the top 2, Haskell, Rascal, and T-Glass. But we're trying to see if the 64 of Puzzle Nose can get back up there from making contact with the wall. He is now 6th,
So
taking
he's
that
not too
spot
far
away.
back there.
No, he definitely didn't get too far back. He just lost some time, and hopefully, with the draft, we can get back up there. But as we see, the 70 really recovered nicely, getting back up to the top 4.
And so I was looking at the 64, it doesn't look like he has much of any damage on this truck at all, so it doesn't look like
No.
he's lost too much speed, so
I agree, and now
interesting.
yeah, it's even more interesting that we now have 7 trucks in the top pack instead of the final 4 just breaking away. So a couple non-playoff drivers in the mix make it a little interesting. You're watching the 0-1 of Watt Racing there, who is under fire on the top side by Puzzle Nose for that 5th position.
Yeah. And that's a look who's in the middle of the 4 championship drivers. You got OK Sideways splitting them right now. This Puzzle moves up to 4th or
Absolutely.
5th.
Yeah, 5th place. He had that power move on the outside getting around the 0-1. He's definitely got a fast truck. Just, had that contact with the wall. He's now battling for 4th with 70 of Chris. So 2 championship drivers going at it. But yeah, you mentioned OK Sideways. He is another one of our stellar drivers in the truck series. He's won a race this season and was a lot of people's favorite to win, or not win the championship, but at least be in the final 4 based on the stage wins and poles that he had early in the season. But he definitely cooled off towards the middle and the end of the playoffs there, finding himself eliminated. But he's showing today that he has the strong truck, he's a strong driver, and he deserves to be running up with these 4.
Yeah, he definitely is a fast contender. I definitely was shocked that he wasn't one of the championship 4, but I heard he had a lot of issues on track there late. So one of those things, you gotta kind of roll with. Either come out
Absolutely.
on the good end of the deal, or you end up where he did. But that doesn't mean he won't be contending next season for sure. I
That's
definitely
absolutely true.
like to see him up there for sure. Like all these guys right now in this first group.
Oh yeah, and speaking of drivers that just barely missed it, I'm watching the Owen Rabat Racing pushing Puzzle Nose around. He was another one that we're shocked that had a chance in the last round to make the final 4 and had a unfortunate race in Bristol. Just mistake after mistake ended up being the reason that he's not in the championship 4 today. It seemed like he almost had it locked on the points, but with Haskell and Rascal winning and the mistakes that he made in the race, he could have easily won that race and been here. So, but he is definitely showing strength as well, mixing it up with this championship 4.
Yeah, he was a quick driver. For sure, I raced with him in a couple races. He was always up near the front, so I do believe Haskell was below the line and won that nice
was.
race. So
Absolutely.
definitely good on his part. One of his probably better tracks, and it might not have been.
And speaking of Haskell,
track for
Haskell, he
a
takes
while.
the lead. 98
Yes, he
Haskell,
does.
Haskell drove around
And they're
before
3
he
wide
left.
from the lead actually right now.
Yeah.
It's on the
What a-
outside
what a
with T-Glass in the
crossover.
middle.
Looks like he's got some help there. Haskell all alone on the top. See the momentum he loses with the 98 of OK Sideways, pushing T-Glass back to the lead. And the 64 says, I'm going to take it on the inside, 3 wide with the 70 and the 98. 70 backs off a little bit, still side by side with the 64. These
Yeah,
guys
you
are
can
racing
tell-
now.
Ooh, Haskell sent it. He went right past sideways there.
Yeah, he pulled the side job there. He really did. He dove in deep, got around. Okay, sideways now. He's under fire. He goes to the high side. Under fire from sideways, but he's got the draft from T-Glass at least down the front straight there. Takes that high line. Looks like sideways is gonna have to help though. Puzzle knows pushing him. They will settle in the second and third, passing back and forth.
Yeah, these guys are getting pretty racy. You can tell it's getting later in the race. These guys got a little bit more of a feel for their trucks now, so
Yeah.
definitely
And-
making a little bit more risky moves.
Oh yeah, and after that almost makes me think that pit stops are coming up too. That's usually if it's not a stage break or the race ending, it's probably they're getting ready to pit, and they want to get all that advantage now before they start pit.
Yeah, puzzle
64 throwing a block. Yeah.
Okay, sideways. That's it. You can see Puzzle
Ooh,
got himself back
contact.
in the top 5 now. Didn't take him too long to work his way back up there. Chris isn't too far back there.
Oh, some more
Chris-
contact.
Yeah. Things are getting a little racy. T-Glass is starting to pull away now because those guys are racing each other so hard.
Yeah, that was the 98 of Slushy getting into the 70 of Chris there. Just a little bit of probably looseness coming off the corner. Got into him a little bit.
Yeah, Chris is at the tail end of that pack now.
Ooh, and then he slid. Then looks like the 98 slid up in front of Haskell. He gets up the track a little bit. He's gonna fall to the back of that pack. A little shuffling going on here. Some contact. How a question. Go ahead. I got a question for
Yeah.
you, so we'll get there.
I was gonna say, you notice that it's not all the championship 4 up there anymore. You got a lot of these non-playoff drivers up there now. So, do you think it's a little bit frustrating, especially for you got the 78 Chris and the 98 of Haskell back there at the tail end of this little train? Do you think
Oh,
there's a little
absolutely.
bit of frustration there?
Oh, there definitely is, and I can, from personal experience, I can tell you, it's probably one of the more frustrating things in racing. If you remember back to that same championship race where you got yours, I was a lucky dog at the end of a 7-truck pack, and I tried to get through the pack as quick as possible to try to catch you, and some of those non-championship drivers are racing me pretty hard, and it gets super frustrating. You're like, come on, man, just let me go. I'm trying to win a championship here, and you got to look at it from both sides too, because the driver that's a non-playoff driver, they're just out there to win a race, gain some respect, get some momentum for the next season. They're out there battling almost as hard as those championship guys. So, there is that drive to do well, but there's also the fine line of how you're going to approach a championship guy. Will you move him out of the way? Will you bump him? Will you just let him go? And it all depends also on what stage of the race we're in. You know, you'd hope that at the end of the race, when it's, you know, when it's championship time, that, you know, those drivers are going to be just a bit more courteous, but you never know. And my question to you was pretty much just that. We saw some aggression there, some door banging, and even some contact between championship and non-championship drivers. So let's put it in your perspective. You're a championship driver. How aggressive are you willing to be in stage 2?
I think you'd want to be a little more aggressive than you were in stage 1. You're going to want to find, especially if you're lacking speed, you know, T-Glass has been kind of the championship driver of the day so far, leading most of the laps and being out front. So, say like Puzzled, or especially Haskell and Chris, they were at the tail end of that pack. You kind of wonder what can you do to make your truck a little bit faster without pushing it over its limits. So, whether that be in strategy or able to make the right adjustments down pit road.
Absolutely. And you know, it seems like he took your advice this time. We talked about you know, what your strategy would be as far as pitting goes, and you said for the 64, I want to pit with a leader. And he did just that. The 54 truck of T-Glass was your leader. The 64 came down right with him. So it almost seems like he took your advice there and went right for him. But we had a bunch of trucks hit a lap later. You know, we saw those fresh tires become a big factor. So, you know, we had OK Sideways, the 70 of Chris, Haskell the Rascal, and Watt Racing all pit late. So, you know, do you think that backpack, once lined up, are they gonna catch these two guys that pitted early?
I'm really interested to see, especially Chris and Haskell. I believe they would definitely work together to get themselves up there. And they got WOT back there as well. So I'm actually kind of interested. You got split decision here. You got 2 drivers that pitted 1 lap before, and then you got 2 drivers that pitted the lap after. They're definitely gonna be gaining more time later in the run. You won't really see it in the beginning. About maybe 5 to 8 laps into the run, you'll start to see those guys probably start to creep in a little bit more. So it just depends on how hard they race each other in the back there.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see this 01 and the 98 of Haskell the Rascal side by side in this group right now. You know, like you said, you know, you probably want to get formed up right now if you want to catch those front 2. You know, they look to be losing a little bit of ground, you know, definitely losing ground side by side like they are now, and everybody kind of a little spaced out based on that pit strategy. So we'll see how this turns out, but again, stage 2, not really a factor. You know, that all-important stage 3 is coming up, but, you know, Liebert, they're running out of time to make adjustments.
Yeah, I'm worried about the 70 Chris right now. He's in the back. I think he's losing that draft to Haskell and WOT in front of him, so he hasn't had really the speed since that first green flag run, and he got that speeding penalty. So I'm kind of curious if it's getting into his head a little bit, or if he's just not making the right adjustments that he needs to get up there and contend like he was in the beginning.
Absolutely. And talking about people that made adjustments, it looks like the 98 and the 01, whether it's tires or adjustments, they are moving forward fast. They've already caught and passed the 66 of Slushy, who also pitted with them. Or actually, no, pitted earlier. I think we saw him pit 2 laps earlier, so we see the tire difference. But they look to be closing the gap between OK Sideways and it looks like the 64 truck, who you know, pitted on that lap before, and we saw OK Sideways pit a lap later. He's already caught the 64 on his own.
Yeah, and he's going to the inside of the 64 right now, trying to get around him. If I was sideways, I definitely want to get around him as quick as possible, because the harder he races you, the more it's going to wear your tires out. So definitely try to get around him quick. That way you can continue that push forward. Maybe he might be able to get up there and contend the lead with T-Glass.
Absolutely. And if I'm that 64, you have the same tires as the leader. But you got a truck that just caught and passed you with fresh tires. So if I were him, I would use OK Sideways to pull him up there, because he's going to start gaining with those fresh tires.
Yeah, definitely, if I was puzzled right now, I'd just ride behind OK Sideways, see if you can use him to help you get up there and contend, because you don't need to win the race, you just need to be in front of that championship driver. So, and that's the fun thing about this new championship format, is when it comes down to the final race, it's whoever finishes the best. I think it's kind of interesting. It's always fun. This year they're finally moving it around, so that's something that we have the luxury of doing in our leagues, which is always fun to do, because you never know who's going to be in that championship four.
Absolutely, you never know, and that's the amazing part of this. It's definitely going to be interesting to see when this all plays out, because the stage 3 really unwinds the clock. I mean, everything, all the progress, all the space that you've created, or all the leads that you have right now, are going to be washed away, and the points don't really matter here. So these drivers are going to have one more shot at changing everything. So we'll see. If they make those last minute adjustments, or they race a little bit differently, or have a different strategy for this last section, we'll see.
Yeah, and it looks like Puzzle and OK Sideways are still battling it out here. I don't think that's a very smart move on Puzzle's side, because you can see T-Glass is really stretching these guys. He's got about half a straightaway, I would say. But I don't know, I feel like the 64 is really hurting his own tires right now. He's got a lot fresher, so he's definitely a little bit faster.
I absolutely agree. This is not even though, there's some contact there. Even though it is that you're a championship driver and you want to get in front of him, you don't want to race him there. But that was the end of the stage. So that is the end of stage 2. We see why they were battling a little bit there, trying to get that last track position. But, to be honest with you, Albert, I would want third, wouldn't you? Would you not want to sit behind that leader and try to get the launch at the beginning of the restart?
See, that's what I was going to suggest. If I was him, I would definitely want a third for sure. That inside line's definitely faster, especially on restarts. It's a shorter way around. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out. But at the same time, everyone's going to be pitting, so it'll be interesting to see if anyone. I don't think anyone will really take too many strategy calls, but
now that we've jumped into stage 3 here, now here's the real question: will we see a 2-tire gamble? Because we talked about strategy. Where you don't know how many times we're gonna see them pit in this third stage, but are we gonna see a gamble? Maybe a fuel gamble or a tire gamble. Do you think anyone on this racetrack is gonna take 2 tires?
I believe if you didn't do it in stage 1 and 2, you're not gonna want to do it in stage 3. I figure stage 1 and stage 2 is going to be the stages you want to test things out, because you got those 2 guaranteed resets at the end. Now there's no more guaranteed resets. So far we've been green the whole way, which has been very good. It's been a lot of clean racing, not a whole lot of contact. So I don't think they'll be taking too crazy of strategy calls. I'm not exactly sure how many laps left we have here, so but it'll be definitely interesting to see if anyone's willing to make that gamble or not.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not much time left, so you know you gotta make sure that you know your strategy's perfect here. Not much time to make up, and you know we've got caution free first two stages, like you mentioned. So you gotta think that it might go caution free the rest of the race. But again, stage 3, this is the money stage. This is where the championship will be crowned. So there's a little bit more desperation. So you know there's always the possibility that a caution could come out, and that would change everything. As you saw in winning your championship, a caution could mean the difference from being last or fourth in the championship to winning.
Right, absolutely. That's all it takes is one lap, something to happen. You know, these guys are gonna definitely start to really put it all out there. You know, it's coming to the end of the race, especially those championship drivers. So they're gonna really be probably making some risky moves. As the 64 just pulled a probably questionable block on the 98 or rotate sideways back there. But that's urgency. That sense of urgency is gonna start setting in. You know, no one's really been able to contend with T-Glass right now. He's been the class of the field so far. Maybe Haskell would be the one that I would think would be able to contend with T-Glass. I just don't know if he's really been, you know, racing hard. It looks like he's been kind of just riding around most of the race so far.
Yeah, now here's the question, you know, now that we're in stage 3 and laps are winding down, you know, you as a driver, when is the point where you lose patience? When is the point where you're racing around with non-playoff drivers and it gets to the point where you're like, all right, I'm done. I do not want you holding me up anymore, and you start using the chrome horn. When would you say in this stage would be that point, if we haven't reached it already?
You know, it's definitely you're gonna see probably in the last 10 laps or so. The aggression is gonna ramp up, especially depending on how pit strategy goes. Sorry, but you can see Chris has worked his way back up to 4th. Now we got the top 4 as the championship 4. But, Haskell is going to the lead, actually.
Yeah. We saw that charge on the inside, and guess what? Don't look now, but the final 4 are in the top 4 again. And we see a new leader. You know, we saw him kind of riding and saving. Maybe he was making adjustments to his car. Maybe he's no longer in save mode, but that 98 of Haskell Rasmus jump to the point, but that 54 T-Glass is not happy with it. He is not happy with not being in the lead. He took both him and Puzzle Nose 3 wide. He jumped up to the high lane there, side by side. Haskell seems to have the help on the bottom. The 54 all by himself, you know, gap between him and the 64, but he has a strong truck today. He's able to almost clear him. Now he's clear. These guys still 3 wide for the other 3 Final 4 members.
Yeah, these guys are definitely getting racy up here. Definitely looks like Haskell's starting to kick it in a little bit more. Okay, sideways is splitting those championship drivers once again. He's got himself up there in 3rd. Chris is on the inside of Puzzle Nose trying to make up some ground. I'm actually interested to see Chris has got himself back up here now. I'm wondering if he's got his truck back to where he had it in the beginning of stage 1. It's going to be about him not making mistakes now. He's already had a speeding penalty in stage 1, so he's definitely going to have that on his mind the rest of the race.
Absolutely, you know, and in his crunch time, as we see, you know, two lines still up here at the front. You know, we saw them, you know, very content with a single file line. And now we don't see that. These drivers are not happy with just sitting in line and waiting, as we see a move to the inside. The 98 of Haskell Raskell is going to pull inside the 64 of Puzzle Nose. He says, I want to get to the back bumper of the T-Glass right now, and I do not want you in the way, as they go three wide. Okay, sideways all the way to the bottom, putting those other two Final Four drivers three wide there. We see a little bit of aggressive moves by two non-playoff drivers in this pack.
Yeah, for sure. Sideways and WOT's up there. They're probably gonna try not to get in the way too much of these championship drivers, but they're definitely did Sideways. Just I believe Sideways may have expired. Oh no, he slowed down the back. He might have spun out or something.
Troubles for that truck, yeah, for sure. We saw him battling
So-
up there with the Final Four.
Yeah, so just WOT up there. He's just looks like he's just riding back there. He's not doing anything too aggressive. Actually, I'm really interested. Haskell, he's been sitting up in second the whole time since the beginning of stage 3. I definitely don't think he's riding around back there anymore, and I think the big reason behind that is because you've seen the lead that T-Glass had there at the end of stage 1, and stage 2 was a lot bigger, so I definitely think he's just trying to at least maintain and stay to the back bumper of that 54 truck, because he doesn't want the pit stops to sell him back to what it was.
Oh yeah, we have seen him pull away by himself when everyone gets separated. So these guys definitely do not want to let him get that lead again. They want to work together, at least stay together until the end, and then they can start making moves. But that 54 truck's been strong. He's been out front for a lot of the race, but he's got company this time. It doesn't look like the other drivers are falling back too much. They are staying in line a little bit to make sure that they are there for the end.
Yeah, definitely got all 4 of them back up front, just like in stage 1. It's interesting. Puzzled was up there, running in second most of the first and second stage. He's been kind of sitting in 4th. I think he's made maybe too many aggressive moves, might have worn out his tires a little too much, so he's just kind of have to ride it out there until pit stops. And that's one thing I've noticed with Puzzle. He's been very aggressive this race with trying to get up there and take the lead, but it's hard to take the lead and pull away from these guys because it's so draft dependent, the package, and especially in the truck series here, that as long as you got the draft, everyone's kind of almost like pack racing, but it's kind of a different type of pack racing in a way. Not so much on each other's bumpers, but 3 wide, 2 wide is more of a common thing to see. So we got T-Glass up there. Haskell looks like he's trying to make a move on the inside. He's going to get to his corner panel as they go down the front stretch into turn 1. And it looks like Haskell's actually going to clear him, and Chris is going to follow suit with Puzzled also behind him. Puzzled and T-Glass actually made a little bit of contact there. He's actually going to get passed by the non-playoff driver at WT, so he's at the tail end of this 5-car pack. And he's probably not too happy about that right now. That contact between him and Puzzled probably wasn't what he was looking for, but we got a new leader of Haskell, and it looks like Chris is actually making a run to the inside now, down the front straightaway. He's getting pushed by Puzzled. And these guys are racing hard, and T-Glass is down at the very bottom. using the apron to take it 3 wide for the lead. Got Haskell on the outside. Guys are still 3 wide for second place. These championship drivers are definitely starting to really race each other hard here. Their sense of urgency's definitely gone way up, and they're definitely putting on a good show so far. But no one's been able to fully stay in front of T-Glass. They've been able to pass him for maybe a half a lap or so, but he seems to find a way to surge back out front. Got a very fast truck. Puzzled, looking to the inside of Haskell. Gonna give him a push down the back. It's hard to keep up with how many times the championship drivers keep changing spots. And it looks like Puzzled is actually coming down pit road right now. So the 64 is gonna pit early. I don't know if that's going to be a good move for him, actually. I feel like that's definitely going to hurt him in the long run, but we'll have to see what goes on here later in the run. Haskell's still sitting in second with Chris behind him, and WT's now sitting in fourth. I believe I just heard the 54 is coming down pit road this time. So not too far after the 64. Be interesting to see what the championship drivers behind them do. It looks like everyone's going to be making their way down pit road besides WOT. So WOT is going to cycle to the lead. The first, I believe, the first non-championship driver to take the lead in this race. It'll be interesting to see where Puzzled's going to cycle out here. I believe he's going to be in front of the other 3 when he does come out. But for how long that may be and how much of a gap, it's going to be hard to tell. I think Haskell and T-Glass are going to be working together pretty good. Looks like Puzzled's coming down the front stretch right now as the other championship 3 are pulling off pit road right now. It doesn't look like that helped Puzzled at all. He did not cycle out in front of the championship 4. T-Glass is still in front of the other 3. I don't believe WOT has came down pit road yet. No, he hasn't. He's coming down this time. So those championship 4 as they cycle out. T-Glass is going to cycle back to the lead. With Puzzled sitting in second for now. Haskell in third, and Chris in fourth. It's a Puzzled as. If I was Puzzled, I'd be saving my tires right now. He's a lap behind compared to the other championship 3, so he's at a disadvantage right now. It's going to be tough for him unless a caution comes out. As they come down the front stretch, they should cycle out to the lead here. Passing WT, who should be coming off pit road. There he goes. T-Glass cycling out to the lead, Puzzled right behind him. Haskell right on the back bumper of Puzzled. Chris is actually falling off a little bit to these other championship 3. I'm wondering if he might be playing a little strategy now. I'm not exactly sure how many laps are left here. T-Glass still across the field, been leading most of this race. other championship drivers have been right on his back bumper, just haven't been able to break away. Kind of interested to see how aggressive Haskell's going to be sitting in third in the 98. He's definitely had speed. He's been one of the few drivers to go up there and contend with the T-Glass. So, looks like the 64 might actually be holding up the 98 a little bit here. Still a lot fresher tires coming into play. Looks like Puzzle might be blocking a little bit. Really hugging that bottom line. Be interesting to see how patient Haskell's going to be. It doesn't look like it's going to be that patient. Haskell takes it to the inside and Puzzled in the 64. Trying to get around one so he can get up there and hopefully get up to the Rocket T-Glass. As Chris is really starting to fall off from these other Championship 3 drivers. I do believe if the caution doesn't come out here, his championship run might be over. As it is hard to make up that time gap, especially without the draft. We got these 3 trucks up here under a blanket, and you see Chris back there coming out of turn 4. Haskell is starting to make his way up to T-Glass. So Haskell definitely has the speed. Definitely going to be interesting coming down to the wire here. These guys really going to start racing each other probably very hard. Looks like Haskell's looking to the inside of T-Glass, going into 3. He's all over the back bumper of T-Glass. Coming down the front stretch. Puzzled still hanging on. About 2/10 behind these first 2. Puzzled's got some speed there on the low side. I definitely think he should have probably tried to wait, pit with them other guys, especially since the other 3 are all on the same strategy. Chris still losing a bunch of time. Actually, WT starting to gain up to him. WT actually lost a lot of time staying out as late as he did.
Yeah, we're sitting here, top 3 in the top, or in 3 of the final 4 in the top 3. Limer, this is still anybody's championship. Green trucks, nose to tail. Looks like the 70 of Chris has faded back. Not gonna be good enough. But right now, we'll see. A caution could change anything. Pit strategy could change anything. But for the moment, these 3 competitors are still in the hunt with a championship looming just in front of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on what Chris did. Puzzle pitted before, but a lot before these guys, but he, as you can see, he's still at the tail end of the lead. But if you look back and forth, Chris, he's probably about 3 or 4 seconds back there now, actually. But he's really starting to struggle. Actually, Puzzle making a move for the lead here. 64 cycles out to the lead. Haskell sitting in 2nd. T-Glass fell to 3rd. And T-Glass is on the inside of Haskell. Looks like T-Glass is battling a loose truck right now. as the run gets later. His tires are gonna give away, especially coming off the corners, the way that this track has the bumps and everything. But as we come to lap 93, we're actually going to take a moment of silence here for our fellow friend who had recently passed away.
We thank everybody for that. 93 being a very special number, a number that Yoram Joker felt really attached to, not only being 93 his birth year, a number that he used in his gamer tag and in several of the vehicles that he's driven over the years in league racing. And that moment of silence was for him. Thank you guys for participating, and we are back with the action. Still those top three in the hunt for
You got a new leader though, Puzzle Mode. That's like all out there.
64 truck to the lead. And I believe we
very
heard
interesting because he pitted a lap before these other two.
Still hanging tough there. You got to think maybe these other two are using him to save, as we have just over 30 to go. We're on lap 93 of 134, I believe, so still plenty of racing left, but you know, the lap's winding down. You got to start thinking about, you know, those tires and fuel, as we see the 54 truck back to the point.
Yeah, that's it. I've noticed T-Class, he's lost the lead a couple times here, but he's always managed to kind of get himself way back out there.
Absolutely.
One of the stronger trucks tonight for sure.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen him lose the lead for very long, a lap or less. You know, really hasn't been able, or has always been able to get back to the front using that draft. It seems like, you know, he gets shuffled out, pops right back in, but these two other trucks, they haven't gone anywhere. They are still hanging tough with him.
Yeah, and I actually look back there, it looks like WOT actually got around first in the 70 truck for the 4th position, so I believe, I'm not exactly sure on how many laps WOT stayed out. I think it was 2 or 3 laps after most of the leaders came down pit road. He actually stayed out, so he's definitely got the fresher tires. It looks like he's starting to draw in on the leaders a little bit. He's definitely not as far back as about 5 to 7 laps ago. So it'll be interesting to see strategy late in the race, who the winner might end up being, as the 64's coming down pit road.
Yeah, we saw him pit early before, and he does it again, so you know, that time maybe he made an adjustment because he didn't look like he lost anything by pitting early, only gained. So, you know, we see him do this strategy again. Maybe it'll work out for him.
Yeah, listen, I'm not exactly sure how many laps these trucks can go on a full run of fuel and tires, but I think he said we were right around like 30 to go or something. Be interesting to see how these drivers are going to try and split it, if they can split it to a 1 stop, or if they're going to have to make 2 stops to make it to the end here. So I'm really interested to see where WOT comes out on cycles, because he's definitely got quite a few extra laps on these other guys out there.
Yeah, absolutely. He is, he seems to be pulling some kind of strategy, trying to maybe stretch it just another lap or two. You know, that may be the difference. between winning this race and not. As we see the leader coming down to pit road, along with, it looks like, yeah, it looks like Haskell the
Haskell.
Rascal is going to follow him. And I'm going to jump on the 64 truck. We'll see. They're just passing those drivers that just pitted. We'll see where they cycle out. It looks like the 64 of Puzzle Nose has hooked up with the 01 of Watt Racing.
I believe the 01 is our leader currently, so the 64 just got his lap back. He's back on the lead lap now, so if a caution happens to come out, that wouldn't necessarily hurt him, but definitely would help him out a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be interesting to see. The last time, whenever he pitted early, he cycled out in between T-Glass and Haskell. So he was either in the lead or close to the front. He is going to cycle out in front of T-Glass. So it'll be interesting to see how big of a gap he's going to be able to try and pull on T-Glass. Because he's going to want to hopefully be far enough ahead to where T-Glass can't get that draft. So hopefully he can maintain and possibly stay out. This might be a winning strategy call on his end.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. You know, you never know, you know, with the strategy, how many laps you can stretch it. It's one thing I noticed, and you can let me know what you think, but, you know, what, or how hard is it to save an auto clutch? Because from my experience, it's very hard. You're in the throttle pretty much, I would say 95, 97% of the time. So, you know, it's really hard to save fuel. If you're in the draft, though, you know, it definitely helps a little bit. But if you're a guy like maybe Puzzle Nose here, doesn't really have anyone around him, you know, that may be a difficult task.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely gonna be tough. You can see the 54, he's actually starting to draw in on the 64 a little bit. And that's that fresh tire difference. I'm actually kind of curious. You can see Haskell is no longer in the picture. Right before the pit stops, I'm not exactly sure what happened to him, but he was kind of far away, not too far away, maybe like half car length or so behind T-Glass coming into the pits. But it looks like he may have struggled. I'm not sure if there was different strategy called there, or T-Glass did something different. T-Glass just power moved around the 64.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that's the advantage of those fresher tires, as we've been talking about over and over. It's very, very, it's a very big difference. I mean, from every race that I've ever been in Auto Club, you know, if you have those fresh tires, you can just drive around people with, you know, even, and we're seeing the difference of only a lap. I mean, he only stayed out one more lap. I mean, so there's not really that much difference here. But, you know, as far as tires are concerned, it's huge.
Right. But like you were saying with these trucks, I'm assuming these guys are probably full throttle around here most of the time. Maybe lifting just a little bit, especially with how the trucks are, less power than the Xfinity and Cup cars. So, as I'm hearing some chatter on the radio about some frustration between the 64 and I believe the 58 Dart. But it's that strategy now, and T-Glass is really starting to pull in on the new tires, so I don't know if his puzzle strategy call is the right one right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we saw it not really work out too well in that first stage, and, you know, really the second too, but, you know, that last time, you know, it seemed that he could keep up. I don't know whether it was because of the draft or what have you, but, yeah, I'm sorry, I just always gotta go for the fresh tires. no matter what. If I'm in a stage 3 situation where I know I'm just gonna run it all the way dry, I really want to grab those fresh tires at any cost. That I want to be the guy catching, not the guy trying to hold somebody off. And I feel like you're the same way. That just it just seems to me that I want to have the upper hand. But some people can make it work on the older tires. We've seen it time and time again. But you just see the fall off right
really
now.
depends on how you have your truck set up for sure.
Absolutely.
Haskell's
I agree.
actually starting to draw back in. He's actually gaining out of the 64 truck right now. And he's still got quite a ways away. T-Glass is really pulling away. Probably got about a 2-second lead, I would say, back to second and third. But,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say if we don't see any cautions, which we haven't the whole race, which has been awesome. We're getting a lot of green flag racing in. But I believe T-Glass might have this one in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the endurance and the mistakes. And we saw an early mistake out of Chris. We really haven't seen any notable mistakes out of Haskell, T-Glass, or Puzzle Nose. But at the end of the day, it's that long run. I mean, we've seen these guys run up with T-Glass at the beginning of the race, and it just seems like once that long run kicks in, he just drives away. These guys aren't able to hold it. Whether it's the truck getting loose or the tires wearing out. But you see the gap he has now, and then this gap, I mean, shoot, we only saw them together not too long ago. This has only been the last 5-7 laps. This late run is really where the money's been made. And we've been talking about it. It's conservation of tires, and how you set up your tires or how you set up your truck to take care of those tires.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually kind of curious because the last few runs, T-Glass later in the run, he was really getting loose off the exit of 2. Not so much 4, but I'm wondering if he's gonna not push so hard since he's out front now. He's got a gap. I'm sure he knows he's being mindful of what's going on right now. So I'm wondering if he's gonna back it down a little bit. Not enough to where they're gaining on you much, but enough to conserve those tires, and especially later in the run if you got a looser setup. Looks like Haskell's
Absolutely.
actually making a move on Puzzle Nose
Yeah.
for second.
He has dived down in that lower lane, and he just drove right past him. So, we don't have that many laps left here, but I'll get a check on that in a second. But do you think Haskell's got enough to pull, those two working together? We've seen Haskell having the better tires. Do you think that he's got enough to make a charge?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. Only because Haskell, he did pit the same time as T-Glass that last time. I think not exactly what happened on track to where he lost that time on the entry of pit, but you can see he definitely lost a whole lot more on exit. So I have a feeling he's going to be a little too far back at this point. And he really needs a caution to get himself back up there.
So I just heard from race control they just hit 112 of 135. So we still have, roughly 23 to go here, coming to 23 to go. So we still got a decent amount of laps. I mean, obviously it's winding down very quickly here, but there's still time for a championship push. And you've seen it, I've seen it, right at the end, magic happens where somebody says, hey, this is the time to go, and I'm just going to do it. As we see the 98 of Haskell pulling away from the 64 with those fresher tires. So, there's always a chance here. You never know what could happen late.
Yeah, that's I can't quite tell. I do think Haskell has gained a little bit on our rear glass. He actually has. He's been gaining a little bit. I do think he has a fast truck. I just think he might have made a mistake there on that last green flag pit stop, and it cost him too much time. So if he can somehow manage to maintain that speed even to get up there, really he's gonna need a caution for sure. But he's definitely got speed in that truck.
That would change everything, really. I mean, we saw that in last season's championship race, and we could very well see it today. You know, late cautions do change everything. So, you know, we still don't know, but I mean, you're right. I mean, with Haskell having a decent truck, and with the, you know, the aero push from the 64, you know, there's the possibility, and even, you know, I'm not even sure if we're even gonna have, or they're gonna have enough to run in the end on fuel. You know, these guys could still make another stop. Yeah, and here's another thing. You know, what happens if the 54 truck speeds on pit road? That changes everything. So, you know, if I'm the 98 at Haskell right now, I'm looking for 20, 22, 21 perfect laps right now. I'm gonna do the best I can. If I have to jump on the pit road one more time, it's gotta be flawless. This is not the time for mistakes. As we see the 64 truck coming down right now, like we said, gotta be flawless here for this championship time.
So that's making me wonder. So we were about 23 to go. No, what would you say? Probably about 7 laps maybe to go, or 5 to 7. So
yeah,
I would assume that he can make it the rest of the way here. But them new tires is gonna be his demise whenever T-Glass and Haskell finally decide to pit.
yeah.
They're gonna be nice for him in the beginning, but
yeah,
it's gonna be hard to maintain that.
Too, is you never know. I mean, we talked about it not working, but you never know if these guys stay out a ton longer. You know, we saw how much those tires mean. I mean, there's always a possibility that
stayed out.
Yeah, and they both stayed out again.
Lap, yep, him and Haskell. So this is going to be 2 additional laps on those tires.
There is time to gain. You know, we're going to watch these trucks and see if they come down this time. But if they don't come down again, either A, they're saving and trying to make it to the end, or B, you know, there's a ton of time to be made up. And it looks like, actually looks like 98's coming down now.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to say.
54 as well.
I'm kind of curious. I was going to say if the 98 could have been able to stretch his run. I don't know exactly how many laps are left or how many you can make on a fuel run. But he could have potentially stretched being, since he was a little bit behind on strategy, stretch it out and then come down pit road, take maybe 2 tires and stuff.
So we're
see
hearing
if he could get that jump, but
yeah, it should be 18 to go as they come out of the pits.
Yeah, that's a far stretch there. So that's I'm kind of curious about WOT. So I'm assuming WOT is cycled back out to the lead now. He still is staying out, hasn't come down pit road. Puzzle Nose actually is in front of WOT, so he must have gotten his lap back. But
what I'm
WOT
watching here,
staying out extra.
What I'm watching here is where that 64 truck comes out. Because we saw, you know, he had quite a bit of a gap to the leader and a little bit of gap to the 98. So I'm curious to see if somebody gambles, and I'm curious to see how much time he made up.
64 came out in front of the 98. I'm not sure. It looked like the 98 might have sped on pit road that last time. He came in pretty hot.
It looks like
but the 64 didn't make
far
some
back.
time.
Yeah, That's
But,
and that's what we talked about. You know, this is not the time for mistakes like that. This is not the time for mistakes on pit road. You know, obviously there's a lot of pressure they're trying to gain on, you know, the other drivers at the end here, try to get everything they can, but at the same time, if you make a mistake on pit road, you know, that's going to cost them. So, you know, if that's indeed what happened, you know, that throws away the championship for the 98.
yeah, and I believe it's going to throw it away for the 64 as well, because you remember T-Glass stayed out a few more laps that time, so he's got probably 2-3 laps fresher tires than him, and he's just pulling away at this point.
Yeah.
He's been the class of the field. He's been out front most of this race. He's been showing why he's, you know, part of this championship and definitely proven that he should be here.
Absolutely, and I think one thing that we mentioned too, that really stood out to me is that, you know, every time, you know, he had the lead taken from him, because we know at Auto Club that's inevitable. The draft, with the different lines you can run, with the momentum, with pushing, you know, it's very easy to lose the lead, and you know, every time he lost the lead, he was just able to get it right back. You know, there was no, give me 5-6 laps and I'll take it back. It was within a lap, you know, taking it right back and then walking away again. So, you know, we've seen just the strength that truck has today.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely got a fast truck. He's been very fast in these last few weeks of the summer series, actually. He's been on a tear, winning, I believe at one point he won 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah, I believe.
He's definitely.
I believe it was
been
at
a
least
fast
2 in a
contender.
row. Yeah, I remember he won the season opener, but there's a lot of question of doubt on it just because of, you know, the circumstances. He won on that technicality with Chris making a late block on WOT Racing, so, you know, that was a big question mark. Can he ever win again, or can he, you know, win without that circumstance? And then it took him a while. He didn't win again until later in the season, but then, you know, he seemed to turn it on when it really mattered. You know, he really came together and started to put together some performances that were spectacular, like this one. You know, we've seen, you know, other than, you know, you can't really call the strategy really a mistake. You know, these 2 trucks in the lead here have been the ones that haven't really made the big mistakes all race. You know, we saw Rascal and Chris both have speeding penalties, but these 2 just on different strategies. But it just seems that if everything goes the way it's going now, you know, T-Glass is going to come up with the better strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised, because the last 2-mile oval that these guys went to was Michigan, and that wasn't too long ago. That's about a month or so. And the winner there was Chris. You know, you saw Chris up there in the beginning of stage 1 and the beginning of stage 3, but ever since that, I don't know if it was a strategy miscue or if something happened to him on track, but you haven't really seen him up there in front, which is quite surprising.
Absolutely. And on the flip side of that coin, we saw T-Glass spin around about 5 or 6 times and wreck. He had probably the worst day of anyone at Michigan, his worst finish of the season. Comes back, I guess, went back to the drawing board and said, I gotta come up with a better truck for these 2-mile tracks. So he must have went back to the garage, worked long and hard, and it really paid off. He's showing that, you know, that was not a great representation of his driving, and he wanted to work on that the most. And you're seeing it here.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely bringing his best stuff. He's probably put in a lot of practice for sure. I saw him on there earlier today practicing. Definitely showing that he's put in the practice and work for it. So not only that, he's the only one in these championship Ford drivers that's been a multiple winner this season, or this summer series season, I should say. So it's kind of no surprise he's out there. Alrighty. Yep. But T-Glass, definitely the class of the field today. Been leading 90% of this race. He's lost the lead a few times, but it wasn't long before he was able to get it right back. Definitely been the star of the field. And as does it, he definitely deserves it for sure. He's been putting in the work. He went on that late summer series tear and was winning races left and right. So definitely no surprise to see him out front here, leading this at the closing laps, and especially for the championship. He actually is coming up to some lap traffic here. Be right back. I'm gonna try to get a lap check. Got word that we're at 7 to go, so T-Glass comes down the back stretch, coming to the front stretch. It'll be 6 to go. Looks like Puzzled might have pitted it once again. That's kind of interesting, so it makes me wonder if T-Glass is going to be able to make it here to the end. I believe he's been able to save enough. He's had plenty of a lead. So definitely one of the fast drivers today. Started on pole, I believe. So definitely a good start to the day here. Won stage 1 and 2. Just been domination from him today. I believe we are at 4 to go. They come down the back stretch. And so you gotta figure T-Glass is just in cruise control right now. He has no one down the back behind him, so he can just set sail and cruise, not push his truck too hard. If he doesn't have enough fuel, potentially save enough fuel. Definitely has this one sealed for sure. A little bit of lap traffic in front of him. Should be no problem. Doesn't appear he's going to be pitting anytime soon. I believe that time across the line, we are at 2 or 3 to go here. So, looks like we got a truck through the grass there, through 1 and 2. Can't tell who that was. Like Arkham went around there. But we'll stay green. This race actually has been green 100% of the way. The only cautions that we've had this race are the stage brakes, so hats off to these truck drivers for putting on a good clean race today. And I think we might be at one to go here. So as T-Glass comes around, possibly for the final time. Championship in sight for the summer series. He's put on a clinic of just leading this whole race and dominating throughout it. He comes through turn 4 for what I think will be the final time. Down the front straightaway. And now I think it's one to go now. And so you can see Puzzle Nose in front of T-Glass there. That strategy that he had been playing there late in stage 3 didn't work. It didn't work for any of the championship drivers, as T-Glass has had a huge lead for most of this race as he comes through turn 4 down the front straightaway, and he's gonna win Auto Club and he's gonna win the Summer Series championship. So big congratulations to T-Glass and that 54 truck. Put on a dominating performance today here at Auto Club, and definitely well deserved. So huge congratulations to him. The T-Glass, the 2020 Summer Series truck champion today. And very well deserving for sure. But I believe that's going to be the end of the broadcast. I will try to get at least an interview with the truck champion T-Glass here and get his perspective of the race real quick. Does anyone have the results?
I don't.
So sideways, you'll be. I guess the results are right here. So
I don't have the
you were
result.
10th.
But let's guess. Yeah, I was in 10th.
Do you want to interview sideways? All right. So who was 9th then? Experts 9th. All right, 8th.
Bark. That was Walmart.
Bart.
Yeah,
All right. You want an interview?
sure.
All right. So Bark, you finished 8th today here at Auto Club. Give us a take on how your day went and what you could have done possibly that made it a little better.
It was good. Right when we started, I started fourth, but then way before pit cycles, I spun out hitting the apron, so it caused me to go a lap down. And then all the rest of the day, I just couldn't find the speed and finished 8th.
Still a solid day for you, and hopefully you came away with learning something from Auto Club, maybe for the next time. So, good job on your top 10 today. Who was 7th? Anyone know who was 7th? Who's me? Arkham? Alright. So, Arkham, you finished 7th today at Auto Club. Give us a rundown on how your day went and what you possibly could have done to made it a little better.
Oh, well, today Auto Club went really well. We definitely had a top 5 truck at least. Think the thing that we could have did a little bit better on was pitting strategy. I saw a couple of drivers pit before me, and by the time I got up pit road, they passed me again to put me back into the position I was in. But besides that, we had a good day and great race, and this was a good last race on NASCAR Heat 4 and for the Summer Series.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a good run today. Solid top 10 finish. It's always good to have. So definitely putting in the work, and we look forward to seeing you in the next season. Here in a
Yeah,
couple weeks on Heat
definitely.
5. So who finished 6th? All right, 5th.
That would be me, Mr. Puzzle Nose.
All right, Puzzle Nose, you were the furthest finishing championship driver. Tell me how your day went. Saw you had a different strategy later there in the race. Tell me what you could have done possibly to have done different to win the championship.
Well, I mean, our car was that fast, and I knew we were going to be in contention, not for the championship, but at least second or third. But, we did really good on short runs in the stages, and just the only thing holding us back was pit strategy. I would have finished second in the race if it wasn't for 3 laps of missing fuel in my tank. I did not save, and I was betting on a caution, and that caution almost came out, but it didn't. So, a little bit disappointing, but I'm glad I got to keep at least the top 5. And yeah, I hope to look in next season, whether I'm in Xfinity, Trucks, or somehow Cup. I hope to look to make 3 more places up next season in the championships.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely look forward to seeing you back contending, especially if you move up to one of the higher tiers. It would definitely be awesome to see what you guys bring.
Yep.
So, congratulations on your 5th place finish, and
Yep, thank you.
we'll see you here soon.
Mhm.
So, who's 4th? Chris. Alright, so Chris, you finished 4th today. You were 3rd in the championship driver standings. You looked like you had speed there in state at the beginning of stage 1. Looked like you had a speeding penalty, and then you bounced your way back, but you may have fallen off there at the end. Tell me how your day went and what you could have done differently.
I always felt like I had a subpar car today, honestly. Stage 1, that was my fault. I came in too hot. And just from then on, I was with my team as we were coming out of the pits in stage 2, and my car just didn't keep the draft. And it basically been like that the entire day, pretty much. Because I couldn't keep the draft, I lost a lot of fuel that was necessary because I couldn't conserve the draft. Ended up having to hold my clutch and turn off my engine as I went through multiple corners in the final stage to make up the fuel to make it here. So looks like a podium finish for this season. The 3rd place is just, I wish it kind of ended better, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's still a strong showing for the day, and definitely look forward to seeing you back, whether you're in the same series or a different. But congratulations on the top 3 in the championship standings. Definitely something you should be proud of for sure.
Thank you, and I just want to say congratulations to T-Glass for winning the championship.
Alright, and so that was 3rd, right?
It was 4th.
4th, so who's 3rd?
That'd be me.
Haskell. Alright, Haskell, you finished 3rd today. You seem like you were one of the few championship drivers I was able to get up there and really give T-Glass a contention for the lead. Tell me how your day was and what you think you could have done differently.
Well, yeah, first I want to say congrats to T-Glass, 19, great run, man, great season. As far as our team, woo! For real, man, great year. Yeah, and I worked with, Chris, T-Glass, and Ice Spiller all year. We're Generation Motorsports, and to finish 1, 2, 3 is awesome. I've said from the start, for me, this is all about the team. I had a great truck. I was able to move around, and this is the 1 week all season that none of us have shared setups or much, and I know Chris and I started out on the same base. There were times that, we got tangled up and stuff and whatnot, and I said, screw it, I'm going to go help Chris and let T-Glass go, and Chris and I got up there, we did great. I thought we had a great team all year. I took a huge fatal speeding penalty on pit road in the very last pit stop. So I lost T-Glass in his draft, but I thought I had something for him, but all day he was just pulling away. T-Glass is class of the field, class of the season, for real. It was an honor to work with these guys this year.
Absolutely, you guys definitely put on a heck of a championship battle. All 4 of you for sure. You guys were all up there most of the race, especially in the beginning, contending with each other. So you guys all have a lot of talent, and I definitely look forward to seeing you guys move up into these higher series with us. But
yeah, it's great to be here,
congratulations to the top 3 in the race and a 2nd place in the championship standings. Definitely look forward to seeing you back in the next
Can I
season.
just say, top 3, Generation Motorsports, T-Glass, Chris Haskell. Love it, man. Great to be here.
Absolutely. So we come to 2nd place, WOT.
Call me
You
Watt.
had a Watt, all right.
Yep.
You had a strong running today. You were actually up there after stage 2 and 3, battling it out there. You had a different strategy for sure. So you were hanging it out there a lot longer than some of those front guys. Tell me how your day was and what you felt you could have done differently.
Yeah, I had a good race. First and foremost, I wanted to just not mess with the championship 4, but I still wanted to win the race, so I kind of just made sure I made no contact, made no errors, things like that. Just didn't want to ruffle any feathers or get in the way of what they were trying to achieve. I've kind of been part-time this summer series. I came in, I'm going to be full-time in the fall for sure, and focusing on being in the Final Four and all that. Missed some races though. I thought it kind of slipped out of my hands. I almost snuck in there with Bristol last week. I had a penalty that, still not the great, most thrilled with. Whatever, moved on. That's fine. But yeah, today just tried to be cool and respectful and gain your guys' respect, and I feel like I did that. Tried to save fuel. I started pretty much the last stage. I didn't really want to mix it up a whole lot and interfere, but I saw that it was going to be about 5-6 laps shy. So I thought if I could save about 1 or 2 laps every single stint, I figured everybody else would run out of fuel. Really was confident that T-Glass and everybody was going to have to run out of pit. But great job to T-Glass. He pulled it off. He did the same kind of deal. I don't know how much he was saving, but I noticed that he had confidence in what he had in the tank, because I was pushing that last run just in case he ran out of fuel. And kind of gained on, but I could tell he was pushing it enough that I knew he had enough fuel too. So congratulations to him. Just ready to keep racing with you guys. And, that was my 4th second place finish. I did get a win in the Summer Series at Martinsville. So I think I made a little name for myself with you guys, and I'm here to have fun and respect you guys and make some friendships and also contend for wins. And I'm confident I can make the Final Four when the fall season starts. I'm going to work my ass off to do it, so just happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely glad to have you here. You guys definitely put on quite a show week in and week out, and we definitely appreciate you guys for putting in the time and effort to do that. So definitely glad to have you guys here, and can't wait to see what you guys do next season and moving up. So
can't wait. Congrats to the Final Four. Congrats to T-Glass. Good job, guys.
Yeah, great race, man. Crazy save job. That's awesome.
Yep. Congrats on the 2nd place
Thank you.
finish, Watt. And we're gonna go ahead and talk to our Auto Club winner here, and he happens to be the Summer Series Championship winner. T-Glass, you had a pretty stellar truck today, I would say the least. You dominated most of the race. You won stage 1 and 2, and it seemed like you could get past, but wouldn't be for long. It would be about half a lap you could get yourself back out there. Tell me how your truck was today and what you had to do to win the Summer Series Championship.
Well, I felt like I was a lot faster than pretty much the entire field. First 2 stages I was just chilling until about the end, and I'd lose their draft and then I'd pull away. The 3rd stage, it was pretty much, I knew Puzzled was going to be short because he hit early every single time, and I had it figured out that if I went 18, I'd be perfect on fuel. And when he pit 17 laps into the runs, the first run, I knew Puzzled was done. So then I had to focus on Chris and Haskell, and I believe they both took speeding penalties. I know Haskell did, and that pretty much just gave me so much room to just save and pull away from everyone else. And definitely a good finish. Basically just no mistakes today, and a pretty fast car. Glad to get that 1-2-3 team finish, and glad to get the championship.
So you definitely did an awesome job today from different circumstances for you. That was your 5th win this season compared to everyone else you were contending with. They had 1 win. But just like me, I came into the last truck championship race without a win, and I had to win to win the championship race, and it just so happened that you didn't necessarily have to win today, but you did win the race and won the championship. So it's definitely a awesome thing. Congratulations. You definitely deserve it, and definitely look forward to seeing you move up here into these higher series.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see if I'll be in Cup.
Oh, I believe you guys will be there. Yeah. Make sure you take a picture of your truck and everything. Get it in the chat. And again, congratulations. Look forward to racing you guys next season. You guys did a stellar job today. No cautions. Like, that was a good race. So, hats off to you guys.